Okay, in this video, we're going to talk about the monitors module. The monitors module, the purpose of it is really to just monitor participants. It's a place that should make it easy for users to quickly see a list of participants that are in a specific state that you would want to track them. So there's a couple existing monitors for my choice already, the institutionalized participants and waiver pending participants. We're not going to talk about those in this video because those are already pre-existing and only applied to my choice agencies. SILs can just ignore those. They'll never see data in them, but they'll just show up empty. So you'll want to pay attention to these two new guys, the NF Transition Tracker and NIFTY/Diversions To Do Tracker, which are available for all agencies. So the purpose of the first one, reviewed waiting to transition, we kind of briefly talked about it on the dashboard. If we go to the dashboard, you can see in the top right, there's this count that says waiting to transition, and it's just a number. So this monitor is actually giving you insight into who makes up that number. So waiting to transition means that your notice and eligibility has been reviewed as complete, and there's no transition record added. So this is letting you know how long ago the notice was added. It uses the notice date, which is actually the linked CTA date. It's not the date that it's actually submitted or added or anything like that. It's the actual CTA date, and then once it is marked complete, then it's added to this list immediately until a transition record is added. So it's just basically a way to keep tabs on your people that have complete notices, so that you're making sure that they either transition or end up getting closed. It also lets you know the interview date and the participant's name. And if you click on these rows, you can pull up the participant summary and use the navigation links to get to the case file or the NIFTY record, or see their to-do list, whatever you need to do. So that's kind of helpful as well. So as soon as a transition record is added, they'll bump off of this list, and then you'll be able to track to make sure the transition is sent to the state with the send transition results record to state to do. So that's what this monitor is for. And that's another reason that there is a monitor, is because we can't create a to-do that says you need to add a transition record, because we don't know if the participant is really going to transition or not. So that's why another reason we put this monitor in, so that you guys wouldn't lose track of who those people are. Then there's the transitions not yet closed monitor. This is going to include people that have a transition record added and sent to the state, but there's no closed record. So these could be people that are receiving transition services after they've transitioned, and they might need to receive them for a while. And that's kind of a new part of the way the iSPA works. That didn't really exist before. Before, if you transitioned, you were also closed. But now, since you can stay open, we added this monitor so that you guys could keep track of those people. And if you know that they're not one of those types of people and they just need to be closed, then it's put in your face that you need to remember to go add a closed record. Because again, this is another scenario where we can't systematically tell you to add a closed record, because we don't know when it will make sense for the participant to close, and that needs to be a participant-centered process. So as soon as you add a closed record, you'll fall off of this list, and then there'll be a send close notice to the state to do to track the rest of that. This is very similar. The participant name, if you click on it, it'll pull up the participant summary. There's the interview date, the date that they transitioned, and then this is days transition not yet closed. That's today minus that. So that's however many days that they transitioned ago. That's another really terrible way of saying this. Someone help me. It's just literally the amount of days since they transitioned, and it uses the current date to calculate that. And I should have said that about days waiting too. This is based off of today's date from that linked CTA date. So those are those two monitors. Like the dashboard, the monitors are controlled by the assign to dropdown. So I have all Nifty/diversions selected right now. So I'm going to see information based on the whole agency. So anybody that falls into these monitors that's a part of this agency will show up here. But if I selected a specific transition navigator, then I'm going to see whatever applies to just their caseload. And then if you select an SC from this dropdown, if you're a waiver agency, then nothing will show up in this monitor because this monitor is not built for non-Nifty people. So that's how that works. Then the next one is the Nifty Diversions to-do tracker. This is literally just a list of the to-dos you're waiting on. So if you're an agent user, it's going to show you all the review to-dos that you're waiting for the state to complete. It's just another way to keep track of your participant when they're not really in your hands and you're waiting for the state to do something. You can go see your list of who that is on this monitor. And then for the state, it's actually going to be the inverse. They would see all the to-dos they're not really waiting on, but are going to come to them soon. So they'll see all the like send to state and acknowledge to-dos, and that way they can see what's going on with those participants if they want to check in on that as well. The columns are the to-do item title, the participant, the due date, which is the due date of the to-do, and days overdue. So if you click on a row, it's the same thing where you can bring up the participant summary. This days overdue is calculated the same way it works in the dashboard, and it's from the current date, how long overdue it is from the due date. And it'll go up to 48 hours, and then past that, I think it counts on days. So that is, those are the monitors. Something else that's true of all the different monitors is they all have these little data grids. These guys can be organized in any way that you want. You can change the columns that are in view. There's this agent column because for state users, they need to see which agency this comes from. But since agency users are only going to ever see their own agent, it's automatically hidden from your view. But you can sort the data by clicking in the column headings. You can sort by multiple columns by holding shift and then clicking another. Normally you won't have a lot of people in these monitors since these are specific scenarios. So the default sorting is probably going to be sufficient, but it does by default sort by how long they're waiting and how long they've been transitioned and haven't been closed. And same with this one, how long they've been overdue. So that's the default sort, but you can change it if you want to. And that sums up monitors. Oh, and then I forgot to mention that the access to monitors is controlled through the Compass Next permission. So if you don't have access to Compass Next, you're going to want to have that. And it's going to control not only the monitors module, but it'll also give you access to the dashboard and participants and calendar modules. Okay, that's it.